Hey, guess what? It's Disney vlog time. I look and feel like a mess, so just know that the outside matches the brain on the inside currently. Disney vlog time. So the first thing I'm going to do is get rid of all of the negatives so that we start off on the correct foot by removing all of the things that I didn't like first, which is all mostly personal things and are not going to be universal experiences, which is also why I want to get rid of them now. Number one, literally as soon as I landed in Florida, I got a sinus infection immediately, which made the rest of the trip mildly obnoxious, because it's slightly harder to enjoy a trip if you cannot breathe. Number two, the mattresses are hard as carp. I have never been able to sleep on firm mattresses. This was no exception. Basically every day I was running on approximately 5 hours of sleep-ish. And so that was fun. Number three, randomly got woken up because of a fire alarm we never got an explanation for. That's great. Yeah, we randomly got woken up at 3 a.m. on one of our Magic Kingdom days. That was fun. So I'm going to go ahead and say we only rope dropped once, because given the sheer amount of sleep I was getting, I was physically incapable of rope dropping. Unless, of course, you wanted a very grumpy, angry Tori running around screaming at things. And nobody wants this. That's one of the other negatives that I had, is that it was hot and humid and rained 2 or 3 of the days. And by rained, I mean it like downpoured, like completely. Yeah, going from 60-ish degree weather to 90-ish degree weather that did not stop being 90-ish degree weather was not good for my chunky booty. I do not do well in heat. And I was well aware that I was going to die. But also, we had to go during this time of year, because I definitely and assuredly was required to see the Halloween event. So, I am actually torn between what my favorite part of the thing was, because, so one of the big reasons that we went during September was so that way we could go into the Halloween event. The Halloween event was amazing. The thing that I regret about the Halloween event is not getting to meet Jack and Sally, because we were dressed as Jack and Sally, and we didn't get to meet them because literally as soon as Jack and Sally come out and start doing their meet and greet, it's like a 3-hour line. And it does not cease to be a 3-hour line. So, you're kind of stuck in this obnoxious limbo of, do I go meet Jack and Sally and get literally nothing else done? Or do I meet other people? Do I meet other characters? Also, it should be noted that we went to Disneyland, not Disney World, which meant there were significantly less meet and greets than there would be otherwise for villains, which made me the sad. Because California gets all of the things that I want. There are 3 shows during the Halloween, or at least 3 main ones. There is the big fireworks show, the Hocus Pocus, and then the parade, which has the Headless Horseman that comes out and leads the parade.
Gather round, friends, and hear my tale. that started long ago on the Sleepy Hollow Trail. When the air is filled with the chill of fall, he's the one who leads them all. From witches' laughter and ghoulish growls to ghosts and monsters on the prowl. With a glowing pumpkin to light the way, he's lurking to find his perfect prey. He's the bringer of Halloween fear.
Yeah.
Beware, the headless horseman is here.
Yeah. I'm also glad that it didn't rain, so they didn't have to have him not come out. And that's really, really cool because you get to watch this, like, they have like an actual horse and rider come out. It's not like a float. And so they come out and they announce the start of the parade with the headless horseman walking. English number one. They announce the parade with the headless horseman walking through the thing. And then there's the Disney, there's the fireworks, which they do massive projections on the entire castle. I was sad though because they didn't have Zero come down the wire on this one. I thought Zero usually comes down the wire, at least according to the things that I've seen. So my guess is because it was looking like it might start to rain, they didn't set him up.
A lot of people.
What's a message?
Buzzy.
Am I recording?
Yeah.
Wow.
The story that you were about to be told is one for both the young and the old. Unlike anything you've ever seen. Get ready, for this is Halloween!
And then right after the parade is the Hocus Pocus show, basically, so.
To tell. Yes, Halloween is a night filled with surprises. Playful tricks, frightful treats. Why, anything can happen on Halloween, as some friends found out on a night much like this one. Oh, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Oh, Zero! Here, boy! Zero! Where is that dog? Ah, there you are, Zero. It's time now to take our friends on a Halloween adventure. One they'll not soon forget.
Trick or treat, trick or treat, trick or treat for Halloween. Better give that treat that's good to eat if you want to keep misery. Trick or treat, trick or treat, trick or treat, trick or treat. Stop a bus, it's fine, you'll
we did the last showing of Hocus Pocus, which is almost immediately after the fireworks. So we did the last showing because obviously the last showing is significantly less crowded. So we were up until 1, which is why the next day that we did was water park day, so we didn't have to wake up until 10. Because we planned that one out ahead of time. So, the Hocus Pocus show was actually really cool. That's where you're going to meet more of your villains. That's where you're going to see more of them come out. The entire Hocus Pocus show is basically the Sanderson sisters trying to have the best party, basically the best Halloween party. And in order to do that, they're trying to brew this potion that allows them to have the best Halloween party. And then they just invite a whole bunch of other villains, and it's great.
Good evening, friends. Tonight on All Hallows Eve, your world and the magical world collide for but one night. A night filled with a little trick, a little treat, and a bit of hocus pocus.
So it's going to be in your best interest if you're going during an event, any event that takes place in the Magic Kingdom, to make your Magic Kingdom days the days that the event are not. Because because Magic Kingdom closes early in order to start the events. However, if you are going for the event, it is in your best interest to make the event day also your Magic Kingdom day. Because Magic Kingdom is like nearly deserted on the days that there's an event going on, since it closes early. They also have a whole bunch of fancy exclusive food for, I think, usually all of the events. The Halloween event had a whole bunch of like little monster-themed cakeys. So Halloween was probably my favorite thing, with the only regret that I had for that being not getting to meet Jack and Sally. That did the making me sad. But also, I'm like, I don't want to miss the entire event to meet two characters. Even though, so, here's the thing. I am very afraid of roller coasters. I mostly went for meet and greets and dark rides and nice and like really good food. Because we did go during Food and Wine Festival in Epcot, which so we did the being incredibly picky thing during the Food and Wine Festival thing. We went for 10 days specifically so that we could hit every park multiple times, except for Animal Kingdom and Typhoon Lagoon. And we set Animal Kingdom as the day before the Halloween event. We also went to the Lion King show that was there and the Finding Nemo show that was there in Animal Kingdom. Those were amazing. I highly recommend them. The puppet work on them is great. So, I think my second favorite thing that happened during the thing was probably getting to go behind the scenes of the giant aquarium, the giant massive aquarium. Something super duper exciting just happened, so now seems like a good time to use this. We just got pulled up for a little mini behind the scenes tour of the giant ridiculous aquarium you can see behind me. I mentioned that I had gotten 5th in the state of Ohio for aquarium management, and the lady that I was talking to was very kind. Her name tag said Michelle, right? I think her name tag said Michelle. Thank you, Michelle, very kindly. She pulled me up to see the top behind the scenes of this gigantic aquarium behind me. So we got to see the dolphins like in the process of being trained. We got to see where they train the rays. We talked about target training all of their fish, all of their newborns. When one of their fish gives birth, they have to target train all of the newborns. And for those of you who don't know what target training is, it is basically exactly what it sounds like. You train the fish to hit a certain point on usually like a stick or your hand, and doing that allows them to be able to be checked more easily. So if one of their fish isn't eating correctly, they will bring them up with the target in order to check them out, in order for like their larger fish, in order to check for like their dolphins, for checking for scars and whatever. They also like health checks, wellness checks, because that's important. We also talked about net training so that the fish are not afraid of their net, which is important. That was actually amazing because you don't really get to see the surface of the giant tank usually. So that, I don't have words for what just happened, because fish and aquariums have always kind of been my thing. And we just got to see behind the scenes of the second largest aquarium in America. North America. So I am super excited. I do not really know how to fully explain what just happened, other than that it was amazing to get to see the trainers physically training the dolphins. To get personally invited behind the scenes of Disney on my first ever visit to Disney is amazing. And to think that all of this started just because I asked a couple questions and showed genuine and full interest in the entire aquarium itself. So this place is beautiful and amazing. So we did not pay to see this. I have a general ridiculous amount of excitement for anything that involves animals in general, but especially fish. I wasn't allowed to do any photos or videos of being up there, obviously, because this is backstage stuff. This is fully behind the scenes stuff. So we had to remove anything from us that could potentially fall into the water. So we had to not have any like hats or anything on. And then we had to And then we went up and we were told to keep like our hands at our sides as much as possible because we don't want to accidentally signal the dolphins. And it was mind-blowing, and the problem is that even now, several days later, I don't exactly have words for how appreciative I am of getting to see that. So here's the thing, I don't know what to say that hasn't already been said by so many other people about Disney, other than, well, my individual experience with the aquarium. So, Hollywood Studios, obviously we went to see Fantasmic because that's what you do. Unfortunately for me, when we went our second time, it got rained out. That was one of our rain days. Okay, here's the problem that I have with the kind of rain that's gotten in Florida. It is the kind of rain that I thoroughly enjoy if I am not forced to be walking through it. I do, in fact, thoroughly enjoy listening to and seeing the thick downpour of gray rain and shadows just falling from the sky, as long as I'm not forced to be walking through it. It is the kind of rain, especially in Epcot, where it's literally made so it feels like you're walking through other countries. It's the kind of rain that makes the entire area around you very, very surreal. In a way that you don't get in a place that you're actually from, because if you're from there, then you are already familiar with everything, right? So it's not as ghostly, it's not as atmospheric, it's not as otherworldly. Then that entire experience of walking through the dark and the rain and the puddles in the moment is infuriating because you just got rained out of a park that you were trying to enjoy. But looking back on is entirely and incredibly surreal. Our first showing of the Epcot fireworks, we ended up walking away from because of the rain and the storm, and because everyone assumed they had got canceled because the monorail was down, and usually when the monorail is down, it means that the fireworks are not going to happen. But apparently they decided that this was the time they were going to break that rule, because the monorail rails were completely down. So we started walking towards the front of the park because that's where you have to get the buses. And another thing that I highly recommend that I insisted that we do, since we weren't going to be able to do the fireworks because of the rain, or at least we thought we weren't going to be able to do the fireworks because of the rain, and then they decided to do the fireworks anyway. I'm not mad about missing them the first time because we had a really good seat the second time that we watched them. But another thing that I recommend that you do is living with the land as the sun is going down, or at night itself, because living with the land is already a very peaceful ride. It's already very very soft-spoken and kind of underrated, honestly. But going at night, when the entire greenhouse is dark, and they have all of the, lights on for the little fake fire, and the torches are made to look like they're lit, and they have, little smaller lights going through the place. It's ridiculously soothing, especially if you do what we did and you go during the rain, and so then you have all of the rain coming down, as well as you're floating through a stream. I could very happily just sleep on that ride. And I mean that in the best possible way. I don't mean that because it's boring in any way. I mean that because it is incredibly and ridiculously soothing. And if you go at night to escape the rain, it becomes more soothing because you just hear the pitter-patter of the rain on the glass in the greenhouse as you're floating through. We did a whole bunch of the character meet and greets. We specifically did mostly like the meet and greet meals. So that way we didn't have to wait in line for them to show up because neither of us have the patience for that. Yeah. The meet and greet meals are generally more expensive, but also I think all of the meet and greet meals are at least 4 characters. They also usually give you an autograph card, so you don't have to get their autograph physically. Some of them give it to you at the beginning of the meal, and some of them give it to you at the end of the meal. Anyways, one of my favorite meet and greets that happened was actually with Edna Mode, because she was amazing to do the meet and greet with, because she, even though she's a masked character, she cannot actually speak to you. She does interact like a lot, because her suit is not massively bulkier in the way of her being able to react and interact with you. And I was there with a group of my friends and /or business associates. With Edna, we went in and we also were in costume the entire time. We did Disney bounding the entire trip because that's part of the fun of going to Disney, is dressing like Disney characters. So because we were in costume basically the entire time, one of the things that Edna seems to do, I think pretty much with everyone, is obviously like assess your outfit, because she's a fashion designer. That's what she does. And so we mentioned that we had made parts of and otherwise put together our entire costumes, and we were doing that the entire week. And also that I'm an artist, and obviously I was dressed as Gelatoni, and Gelatoni is also an artist, so it was very clear that I was an artist in this outfit. And so when we got her autograph, she also told us to get in touch with her, and she wanted me to do some of the design work for her studio, some of the artwork, and that was amazing. Unfortunately, she did not do any, she did not give, a fake number to go along with her autograph, because that would have just kind of added to it. That kind of made me a little bit sad, because you could have just, made up a fake number, or, just gone with, the basic 555 thing that they do for movies. That would have added to it a little bit more, but that was still, an amazing meet and greet. So I'm not sure if I put Edna ahead of them or if they are tied. But I did get to meet 3 of the Alice in Wonderland characters, and Alice in Wonderland is one of my favorite things. So we got to meet the Mad Hatter and Alice during the Halloween event, which was great because that was when I was dressed as Jackie Skellington, and then my boyfriend was Salvador. Instead of Sally. So that was actually really fun. I did have the unfortunate thing of literally when it was my turn to meet them, they had to leave for their break. But it was also kind of adorable and hilarious because the Hatter seemed really upset that he had to leave because he liked my costume. So he seemed actively upset and was trying to get the handler to let them stay and meet me and then leave. That was kind of fun. Interacting with the Mad Hatter and Alice was one of the highlights. The other one was the Red Queen, the Queen of Hearts, which we had waited for a little while in order to meet her, and so I had done a bunch of doodles along the side of the page that I was going to have her sign. So I had a little crown with a heart and the croquet thing, and that was fun because obviously in my Jackie costume I was wearing the basically full-length skirt. It was full-length in the back, and then it had like the thing that I could pull up to my knees in the front. So naturally, the first thing that I did was curtsy because it's the queen. And she was entirely too thrilled by this. And then she saw all of the artwork that I did along the side and like very enthusiastically pointed at it. So because she's a mask character, she's not able to actually speak. But we need to talk about the fact that Figment was there. So Figment is basically has basically become the park mascot for Epcot, if we're being honest. Figment is one of my favorite park exclusive characters. The other one naturally being Gelatoni, which is why I dressed as him. Figment is the main character for the Imagination Institute. He is a figment of your imagination. That is the point. And so, Figment, naturally, because I am an artist, is one of my favorite characters to be in the parks, and that's why when I saw this giant, fluffy, cuddly friend, I needed him immediately. And I have been basically hugging him since. I cannot tell you the amount of excitement that I have had for the fact that Figment released literally right before my Disney trip. Oh my gosh. Figment is a giant purple dragon friend. And also in the Imagination Institute, they have a thing where you can design your own Figment and name them, and then you can have the thing emailed. Also, the song that goes with him, One Little Spark, is also amazing. Not gonna lie, when that song started playing in the Epcot fireworks, I may have teared up a little. It's fine. I'm sure it's fine. I had a lot of random little tiny tear-ups throughout the thing. We stayed at Pop Century, which is considered one of the value resorts, quote-unquote. I'm not going to say it was great, because obviously we were there for the parks. We weren't there for the thing. I will say that the theming of the hotel, and as far as I've seen all of the Disney hotels, is actually really good. They're actually quite good at sticking to the themes of the hotels. In our case, we were right next to the Hippy Dippy pool. And the Hippy Dippy pool is fantastic because it's literally just shaped like a giant flower, and then it has flowers that come up and spray that are like shower heads, except for like jets of water instead of like raining water. Ohana was one of the best places for food. Ohana and Hollywood and Vine, I think, were my two favorite places to eat. We did Ohana twice, actually, because we did Ohana for breakfast. Because for breakfast, they have Lilo and Stitch walk around, as well as Mickey. There is a lot of the characters who don't do the like physical meet and greets, but they do just appear in the park, and you kind of have to find them. I highly recommend doing a water park day right after an event day when you're going to be out past like 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. Because the water parks, one, they don't open until late, which means that you have no pressure to get up early. 2, the water parks close at 5, which means that you can also use your water park day as your Disney Springs day, especially if you don't intend on wandering around the entirety of the giant mall and you're really only going for a couple stores, which is what we did. We really only went to Disney Springs because we wanted to hit the Disney store there. We had reservations at the Boathouse, which the Boathouse was amazing. That food was great. And then the Lego store, obviously. Look on the online Disney store, because that gives you free shipping. And a lot of the stuff you will find on the online Disney store is also the stuff that you will be able to get in the park. So check the online Disney store for the things that you're thinking about getting in the parks, because oftentimes it is the same price or cheaper, and it is free shipping back to your house. I think it's free shipping over a certain price point, but let's be honest, if you're going to Disney and you're buying things, you're going to hit that price point pretty quickly. So, that is why I have some of my plushies, like Figment and Binks, now, whereas the stuff that we could only get from the Disney store is in transit still. So, you are going to find that some of the stuff you cannot get on the online Disney store. A lot of the stuff is going to be the ornaments. Any of the Christmas ornaments that you might be looking at getting, you're almost definitely not going to find on the online Disney store. As well as some other, like, some of the figure sets that they have there, you're not going to find on the Disney store, etc., etc. So Disney was amazing. The water park was honestly the perfect reprise to have for after the Halloween event. That's because there was no pressure to wake up early. You got to just float around in water and be lazy. Or you can ride water slides. The dark rides are all shorter than they look like they should be, which is fine, but it do make me sad. I wish they were longer, because I love me dark rides. They are nice. I think my favorite show that was specifically not puppety based, I think my favorite show that was like a recording, I'm going to say, was probably the Mickey Mouse one, because that one was really good on the effects and stuff. Yeah. I think my favorite ride was naturally Haunted Mansion. Haunted Mansion, Journey into Imagination, and Pirates of the Caribbean are all like really close firsts. And I think strangely Winnie the Pooh and less strangely Peter Pan are very close in the second. A lot of the ones that are character meet and greets, because they're character meet and greets, they seem to put slightly less effort into the food itself. A lot of the food for the meet and greets was kind of, I would say, your basic restaurant food. It wasn't like high quality like you would expect for the price, but part of the price is that you're getting to meet around 3 or 4 characters. I got flirted with by a Stitch, and that was fun for me, because I was dressed as Angel and my boyfriend was dressed as Stitch. And so as soon as Stitch was done realizing that my boyfriend was dressed as Stitch, he looked over and realized that I was Angel. And he gave me the heart, and that was very cute. I do not have, I think, the words to say. The problem is that I've basically lived most of my life assuming that I would never get to go to a Disney park because it was too expensive. And so to get to go to one for 10 whole days has been an amazing experience that I do not quite know how to explain. And to get to go to it with my first and hopefully forever boyfriend is an experience that I'm not going to be forgetting anytime soon. You can look forward to some of the full shows and some of the full fireworks things being posted here shortly, as those are the things that I did fully record. All that I have left to say is that this has been an amazing experience, and if you wish to see more of my photos, I highly recommend following me on my DeviantArt or my Imgur, because they're all going to end up there. So if you wanted to see more, I took a lot of pictures of just random animals that were around the park because I'm weird and I like lizards. And there were lots of lizards because it was Florida. Follow me on my other social medias, specifically DeviantArt and Imgur if you want photos, because that's where they're going to end up. I might end up using the photos and making little shorts out of them, elsewise. Until then, have a magical day.